which emperor or emperors had the longest reign? Gordian III. How long was his reign?
6 years.
Okay, so I'll write 6 here. Does anyone disagree? Yeah? Promise? Right. Anyone want to know? He's right. How many years is that? So Valerian and Gallienus, and these names are a little difficult to pronounce, they actually ruled for 7 years. Which brings me to my next question. By looking at the dates right here in this column, which year had the most rulers, the most emperors? Which year switched emperors the most? And then which year had the most emperors? What is the number? What is the year? And the month? Yeah, 238. How many emperors ruled in the year 238? David, how many emperors ruled in 238? Does anyone disagree? Dylan? 5? Mia? 4, 5, or 6? Let me see, on the count of 3, I want you to put your hands up in the air and tell me either 4, 5, or 6. How many emperors ruled in the year 238 CE? 1, 2, 3, show me. I don't see 10? 4, 5, or 6 in the year 238. So I can see why a lot of you said 4. The reason that a lot of you said 4 is because the first 4 lines talk about 238. I can see why a lot of you said 5, because in line 3 we have 2 different emperors. However, the correct answer is 6, because if you look at line number 2, it says Gordian the first and the second. That means that the second person that ruled with Gordian was also named Gordian, so they should rewrite his name, just put Gordian the first and the second.
Guys, imagine what that's saying. There were 6 different emperors in 1 year. Imagine if you had 6 different teachers switch on you in 1 year. That was 6 different rulers in just 1 year. Like, think about that. Okay, sorry. I thought that was really amazing.
So based on what going off of that, I want you to take just about 10 seconds independently. Count how many emperors actually ruled during this 50-year period. So take about 10 to 15 seconds. Make sure that you look at the co-rulers as well. That counts as 2. I will be looking for a number in about 10 seconds. All right, everyone please track Liliana. Liliana, how many emperors does this chart represent? How many ruled within that 50-year period? 22. On the margin right here, I want you to write 22 emperors from 235 to 285 CE. Now I'm going to ask you two different questions. Actually, I'm going to ask you one question. With your teams, I want you to figure out, by using this chart, how many emperors were assassinated? How many emperors were assassinated? I will be looking for a number. Take the next 20 seconds to copy your team. Go. Oh, good question. Sheila said, what if it says possible assassination? Count that in your number. 13. Diego, how many emperors were assassinated or possibly assassinated? 13. That is the correct number. I also want to point out that killed in battle wouldn't count as an assassination. The reason is that these emperors were going to war with other countries, so fatalities or deaths were going to happen. They just happened to be the victim of that fatality. We also have another emperor, Valerian. He rules from 253 to 260. He actually died as a slave of the Persians, so he was captured in battle, and he was taken by the Persians, and he became a slave, and that is how he ended up dying. Now, a lot of these emperors who were assassinated were actually assassinated by the person that would be taking their place. So I want you to take some time to talk with your teams and think about, how do you think the Roman citizens felt when their emperors kept being assassinated and the murderer became their new emperor? Take about a minute to discuss. Go. something really interesting that I was just talking about with Ella. So if you look at this chart, I mentioned that a lot of the emperors were being assassinated by the person who would take their place. This especially happened toward the later years depicted on this chart. If you look down right here to line 12, this emperor was assassinated or suicide, they're not sure. But everyone else afterwards, besides the last one, were either assassinated or possibly assassinated. What do you think this frequent change of leadership might have affected Rome's morale overall, meaning how might have it contributed to the fall of Rome? Talk with your teams. Make sure you are talking with your teams. Once again, the question is, how might these frequent changes in leadership contribute to the fall of Rome? You will be taking an exit ticket in about 3 minutes that you will not be able to use your notes for. So make sure that you